Or maybe it was something as simple as waiting too long to get the oil changed. But whatever the reason why my car decided to break down, it didn't at all change the fact that it happened, and that I found myself halfway down the pass to Christmas River that hot afternoon in mid-September with a car that wouldn't start, no cell service, and a trunk full of Marionberry pies. "Son of Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen," I muttered. "You've got to be kidding me." I rested my hand on the ignition and took in a deep breath, feeling a small stream of sweat trickle down the side of my face in the heat. Then I said another silent prayer as I turned the keys, hoping to hear something promising in return, something that would mean I'd be getting back on the highway and arriving home in time for the party. But just like before, I got nothing from my usually dependable Ford Escape but a half-hearted sputter that eventually turned into a harrowing death rattle. And then silence. I was cooked. I sat there for a long moment, stewing in a cloud of disbelief at my current situation, the kind of half-stunned, stupefied, how-did-I-get-here reaction that breakdowns, accidents, unexpected bills, and overplucking your eyebrows had a way of causing. I glanced down at my cell phone again, staring at the big X on the screen where the service bars normally were. I held the phone up to my ear and tried to call out anyway, getting nothing but more dead silence. This was getting me nowhere. I pushed my shoulder into the door, opening it, and stepped outside into the warm air. I headed for the front of the car. I'd already popped the hood a few minutes earlier after pulling off to the side of the highway when the check engine light began flashing at me, but after looking inside the hood, I'd come to the conclusion that the inner workings of my car was a mystery as big as the pyramids at Giza to me, and when I now looked a second time, nothing had changed in that regard. I reached in, pulling out the long, skinny pole that had the small image of an oil can on it, one of the very few things I did know a little something about. I looked at the far end of the pole. The tip was covered in a slick layer of reddish-black oil. But it told me nothing about why the Escape was now refusing to start up again. I let out a long sigh, pulling my cell phone out again. Still no service. "Unbelievable," I mumbled. I should have never stopped up here. I should have just kept going and pushed my luck instead. What had I been thinking? I leaned on the back heels of my sandals, looking up at the bright blue sky in frustration, trying to figure out my next move. I'd been traveling this highway a lot lately, and I'd come to know it almost as well as the back of my hand, which meant that I knew I was still about 60 miles from Christmas River, 60 miles of nothing but wilderness. And while it was September and plenty of motorists still traveled this stretch this time of year, the highway wasn't the most popular road that led to Central Oregon. It was the shorter but slower scenic route, one that I decided to take at the last minute as a small treat to myself, a way to celebrate what had happened earlier that day. But looking at the empty road ahead of and behind me, I was sorely regretting that decision now. I stepped away from the car and out from under the towering pine trees that practically swallowed both sides of the two-lane highway. I walked a little distance along the shoulder, wishing I had changed out of my interview outfit, with its strappy sandals and silk blouse, before leaving Portland earlier that morning. The outfit wasn't meant for being stranded in the woods. I stood at the edge of the asphalt and listened for a long moment, hoping to hear something like the whooshing noise a fast-moving car would make. A few minutes later, I heard it. I let out an unsteady breath, feeling my mouth go a little dry. It was uncomfortable having to ask for help from complete strangers, but there wasn't much I could do about it, I reasoned. I was stuck, and I needed help. No two ways about it. The bright mountain sun gleamed off of metal as a convertible barreled down the highway in my direction. I inched closer to the road. As the car rounded the bend, I raised my hand awkwardly, as if raising it in response to a question in class, but being unsure of my answer. I caught the attention of a 40-something man driving the car. He gazed at me, and then the brunette woman in the passenger seat started staring at me, too. I smiled as brightly as I could, trying to impress upon them that I was friendly, non-threatening, and just a nice gal down on her luck. I waved, too, the friendliest flagging down of a car that there ever was. They continued gawking at me.